Mohinī Ekādaśī. Yudhishthira Maharaja said, O Janardana, what is the name of the Ekadash that occurs during the light fortnight of the months of Vaisākha, like May, April, May? What is the process of observing it properly? Kindly narrate all of these details to me. Lord Sri Krishna replied, O blessed son of Dharma, what Vasishta Muni once told to the Lord Ramachandra, I shall now describe to you. Please listen to me attentively. Lord Ramachandra asked Vaisishta Muni, O great sage, I would like to hear about the best of all fasting days, that day which destroys all kinds of sins and sorrows. I have suffered long enough in separation from my dear Sita, and so I wish to hear from you about how my suffering can be ended. The sage Vasishta replied, O Lord Rama, O you whose intelligence is so keen, simply by remembering your name one can cross the ocean of the material world. You have questioned me in order to benefit all of humanity and fulfill everyone's desires. I shall now describe that day of fasting which purifies the whole world. O Rama, that day is known as Vaisākha-śukla Ekādaśī, which falls on Dvādaśī. It removes all sins and is famous as Mohinī Ekādaśī. Truly, O dear Rama, the merit of this Ekadashi frees the fortunate soul who observes it from the network of illusions. Therefore, if you want to relieve your sufferings, observe this auspicious Ekadashi perfectly, for it removes all obstacles from one's path and relieves the greatest miseries. Kindly listen as I describe its glories, because for one who even just hears about this auspicious Ekadashi, the greatest sins are nullified. On the banks of river Saraswati, there was once one beautiful city named Bhadravati, which was ruled by King Dutiman. O Rama, that steadfast, truthful, and highly intelligent king was born in the dynasty of the moon. In his kingdom was a merchant named Dhanpala, who possessed a great deal of wealth, of food, grains, and money. He was also very pious. Dhanapala arranged for lakes to be dug, sacrificial arenas to be erected, and beautiful gardens to be cultivated for the benefit of all citizens of Bhadravati. He was an excellent devotee of Lord Vishnu and had 5 sons, Sumana, Dutiman, Medhavi, Shukrti, and Drishthabudhi. Unfortunately, his son Drishtabhuti always engaged in greatly sinful activities, such as sleeping with prostitutes and associating with similar degraded persons. He enjoyed illicit sex, gambling, and many other varieties of acts aimed at gratifying the senses. He disrespected the demigods, the brahmanas, the forefathers, and other elders of the community, as well as his family's guests. The evil-hearted Drishtabhuti spent up his father's wealth indiscriminately, always feasting on untouchable foods and drinking alcohol to excess. One day, Dhanpala kicked Drishtabhuti out of the house after he saw him walking along the road arm in arm with a known prostitute. From then on, Drishtabhuti relatives were highly critical of him and distanced themselves from him also. After he had sold all of his ornaments and become destitute, the prostitute also abandoned him and insulted him because of his poverty. Drishtabhuti was now full of anxiety and also hungry. He thought, what should I do? Where should I go? How can I maintain myself? He then began to steal. The king's constables arrested him, but when they learned who it was and that his father was a famous Dhanpala, they released him. He was caught on and released in this way many times, but at last, sick of his arrogance and total disrespect for others and their property, the ill-mannered Drishtabhuti was apprehended, handcuffed, and then beaten. After whipping him, the king's marshals warned him, O evil-minded one, there is no place for you in this kingdom. However, Drishtabhuti was freed from his tribulation by his father and immediately therefore entered the dense forest. He wandered here and there, hungry, thirsty, suffering greatly. Eventually he began killing the jungle animals, the lions, deer, boars, and even wolves for food. Always ready in his hand was his bow, always on his shoulder was his quiver full of arrows. He also killed many birds such as chakoras, peacocks, kankas, doves and pigeons. He unhesitatingly slaughtered many species of birds and animals to maintain his sinful way of life, the sinful results accumulating more and more each day. On account of his previous sins, he was now immersed in an ocean of great sin that was so relentless that it appeared that he could not get out. Drishtabhuti was always miserable and anxious, but one day, during the month of Vaisākha, by the force of some of his past merit, he chanced upon the sacred ashrama of Kaundinya Muni. The great sage had just finished bathing in the river of Ganges, and water was dripping from him still. Drishtabhuti had the great good fortune to touch some of those droplets of water that were falling from the great sage's wet clothing. Instantly Drishtabhuti was freed of the ignorance, and his sinful reactions were reduced. Offering his humble obeisances to Kaundinya Muni, Drishtabhuti prayed to him with joined palms. O great Brahmana, please describe to me some of the atonement I may perform without too much endeavor. I have committed so many sins in my life, and these have now made me very poor. The great Rishi replied, O son, listen with great attention, for by hearing me your life will change, and you will become free of all your remaining sins. In the light fortnight of this very month, Vaisākha, there occurs the sacred Mohinī Ekādaśī, which has the power to nullify sins as vast and weighty as Mount Sumeru. If you follow my advice and faithfully observe a fast on this Ekadashi, which is so dear to Lord Hari, you will be freed from all the sinful reactions of many births. Hearing these words with great joy, Drishtabhuti promised to observe a fast on Mohinī Ekādaśī according to the sage instructions and direction. O best of kings, O Rāma Bhagavan, by fasting completely on Mohinī Ekādaśī, the once sinful Drishtabhuti, the prodigal son of the merchant Dhanpala, becomes sinless. Afterwards he achieved a beautiful transcendental form and free at last of all obstacles, rode upon the carrier of Lord Vishnu, Garuda, to the supreme abode of the Lord. O Rama, the fast day of Mohinī Ekādaśī removes the darkest illusory attachments to material existence. There is thus no better fast day in all the three worlds than this. Lord Sri Krishna concluded, and so, O Yudhishthira, there is no place of pilgrimage, no sacrifice, and no charity that can bestow merit equal to even 1/16 of the merit a faithful devotee of mine obtains by observing the Mohinī Ekādaśī, and he who hears and studies the glories of Mohinī Ekādaśī achieves the merit of giving away 1,000 cows in charity. Thus ends the Vrijavasi narration of the glories of Vaisākha-śukla Ekādaśī or Mohinī Ekādaśī from the Kurma Purana.